Before you set goals, pause. Because 3 simple decisions can completely change how your year unfolds. Goals matter, but what truly shapes our results is how we behave on the journey and the habits we live by. In this video, I will guide you through a simple 3-step challenge to create clarity around your identity and your habits. Let's dive in. Goals are powerful and deeply positive, but they often fade, not because we lack discipline, but because they're disconnected from who we want to be. What lasts much longer is our identity. When we are clear about the kind of person we want to be, decisions become easier and priorities become clearer. So instead of starting with a goal, let's start with our identity. The first step is to choose a word that represents a quality you want to live by this year, something you want to be, something you want to embody. Let me show you some examples. Maybe you want to be more mindful, or courageous, or focused, or a role model, or benevolent, or whatever other word that defines the best of who you want to be this year. The word you choose becomes your compass for the year. Writing down a word itself does not change anything. But if we decide to step into that behavior on a daily basis, that's what changes everything. As an example, if you would choose the word courageous, but there is a moment where you don't feel courageous, the idea in that moment is to envision how a courageous person would act in such a situation, and then to simply do it this way. Or if your word is mindful, and there is a moment with a lot of stress or emotion, you could ask yourself, how would a mindful person act in such a moment? And then act accordingly. And step 2 is to choose one daily action you commit to every single day. The best is to choose something simple, something realistic, something that supports your energy and your ambition. Here's why it matters. Long-term high performers don't rely on motivation. They rely on daily habits. With other words, repetitive daily actions. Like brushing our teeth is a habit. High performers, backed by the world's largest high-performance study, consistently seek clarity. They manage their energy. They stay focused, and they take decisive action towards their goals. So the question becomes this: what's one small daily action that would move your life forward? The habit I commit to is the following. Every morning before breakfast, I write down my most important tasks for the day. I call them needle movers, high-impact activities that help me achieve my goals. These are not 10 or 20, rather 3 to 8, and I write them down on my phone. And during the day, I simply check them off. And in the evening, I review what worked, what did not work, and what could I do better tomorrow. Me personally, I track it in the Growth Day app. That's a personal development application. I've added a link to a free trial in the description underneath. But of course, a notebook or simply a piece of paper can work as well. Such small daily actions compound. They build momentum and act like guardrails to keep you on track. And step 3 is to share your intention with someone you trust, because accountability turns intention into commitment. And there's strong evidence behind this. Research from the Dominican University of California shows that people who write down their goals, who commit to specific actions, and share their progress with someone they trust, lift their success rate to approximately 70%. So don't keep this to yourself. Share it with your partner, with a friend, with a colleague, with someone who supports your growth. Brendan Burchard once asked an Olympic medalist how he stayed motivated through training so relentlessly. His response, "The day I shouted from the rooftop that I was going to the Olympics changed everything. That's when it became real. That's what gave him the extra fire." Sharing does make a huge difference. So let me recap. Choose one word, an adjective, to guide your behavior for the year. Pick one action you commit to on a daily basis, a habit, an anchor habit, and share it with someone you trust. And one small tip, set a daily reminder on your phone to remind you and integrate it in your everyday life. Fact is that if we change our habits, we change our life. If you would like to share your word for the year in the comments, I'd love to read it. And if you want to go one level deeper in terms of mindset, I recommend you this video here. Thank you for being here, and see you soon again.